Oh, Dean Henderson said in an interview after the game, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but if you did see it, he said that he was a little bit worried at some point during the game. I'm going to tell you what he was worried about a bit later on. But first of all, I'm going to be talking about the game between Manchester City and Crystal Palace. And if you watched my preview video or listened to my preview podcast, you will know that I wasn't entirely certain we would get anything out of the game. I felt that if we did, we would be very good result for us. And I was also thinking that it would be good to have a similar performance to the one we had against Liverpool, and really it was to many cases anyway. So before I go any further, if you haven't seen the game yet, do remember to go and have a look at it, and then come back and listen to what I have to say about it, because there are going to be spoilers in this game, or in this video, I should say. So in terms of the lineup, it was a very similar lineup to what we would expect it to be. It's slightly tweaked, and I'm going to go into that as well as to the reason why it was tweaked. But we had Dean Henderson making his Crystal Palace Premier League debut for us. We had Mitchell, Gahey, Anderson, Ward and Klein at the back. So we had a back five this time. We had Schlupp, Riedewald, Richards and Elise in the middle. And then we had Jean-Philippe Mateta up front. Now, there was a slight change, I think, late on yesterday. Roy Hodgson said that initially he wanted Will Hughes to be in the middle there, but he actually wasn't well overnight before the game. So Riedewald had to step in and take over his place, who I thought played quite well. I thought he played all right, so I don't see any reason why he can't do that role again. Obviously, Riedewald hasn't had much football compared to Will Hughes, but I thought he did all right. I thought he did quite well. So that was the lineup. We were doing a 5-4-1 formation, and one of the reasons why Roy Hodgson said he did that formation for a couple of reasons. One, because he wanted to have he wanted to try and counter what Manchester City normally do. They analysed how they play, how they get behind the lines, and so he wanted to put in place some way of stopping that from happening. So that's one of the reasons. But also because we are so short because of the injuries we've had, he wanted to be able to field a strong 11. By doing the formation that he did, he enabled himself to put in all the players he wanted to have in there, and also be able to come up with some kind of way to counter Manchester City. I thought it was a fairly good lineup, but some people might have seen it as a very defensive lineup. But I think obviously he didn't have many options in terms of players available, and he didn't necessarily want to go with the youth straight away, so he went for this more experienced side to begin with. And as you would expect, playing Manchester City, we didn't have possession for large parts of the game. Certainly in the first half, we didn't have much possession at all. We were working hard, and I think that's one of the things that I took from the game, the fact that we worked so incredibly hard to try and keep them contained and to try and limit their chances. But they did get chances, and they even got a goal that was disallowed because of VAR, because of offside. And Dean Henderson had to work some really good saves to deny them as well. So we rode our luck a little bit in this game. I'm not going to deny it. There were chances that Manchester City had that they should probably have scored or would have scored on another day. And so, we did ride our luck a little bit, but we were also really compact, really hard working, and didn't make it easy for Manchester City too much, which is what you want. It's what you want to get from your team. Even if you're going to get beaten, you want to be able to go say that your team did their best, and I think that we did. Obviously, they did score. Jack Grealish got the first goal, which was one of those goals where it wasn't necessarily anybody's fault. It was just a very good, well worked goal. And a 1-0 down after 20 odd minutes, you were thinking, is this the start of something that's going to lead to a bit of a rout for Manchester City? But again, we managed to keep it fairly contained, and managed to see out the half without too much of a problem in terms of that kind of thing. I mean, we did have a couple of chances on the counter, but overall we didn't really have a huge amount to say for ourselves going forward. So into the second half, and it was more of the same really. Again, we worked really hard. Joel Ward had to go off because he had a hamstring injury, and so they brought on Ozil as a replacement for him. And one of the things that I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here. One of the things that I thought to myself is an idea a thought that popped into my head when I saw Joel Ward go off. I thought, is this the last time we're going to see him regularly for Palace? because he's got a hamstring injury. Could take a few weeks for him to be out. And if, as Roy was saying, he puts Richards back there, and perhaps even Ozo in the middle, that maybe if he brings Richards to the back and puts Ozo in the middle to cover, that might be a good idea. And then we might see that he has such a good time at the back that Joel Ward doesn't get his place back. I mean, this could happen. Happened to James MacArthur. He got an injury which took a bit of a while to get over, and then his place was basically taken, and then he left the club. So, could this be the last time we see Joel Ward regularly for Crystal Palace? We'll have to wait and see on that. But anyway, he went off, and David Ozo went on, who had a really good game. He was really strong. He put in some really good passes. He's got a great eye for a pass. And just what we needed in the middle there. He was really tenacious and really got involved, which is exactly what we wanted. Helped play a little bit as well, which was great to see. And Elise was also playing well. He was trying to get in on the act as well and trying to make things happen. And then the second goal went in, which was it was a little bit difficult to understand how they managed to get the ball through our defence, because it was quite a packed area. They managed to pass the ball through us and then take the shot to get past us, to get past Dean Henderson. So I was a little bit unsure as to how he allowed that to happen, but it ended up then being 2-0. So at that point, I was thinking to myself, this is not going to go our way. And in fact, on Twitter, someone said that they at 2-0 they left the ground, and so they didn't end up seeing what happened afterwards. So just goes to show you that it's not always a good idea to leave if you think you're going to get a beating. But anyway, I digress. So after that, it was getting on for 70 odd minutes, and Roy Hodgson said that he changed the team mainly because the players were getting tired. I mean, Riedewald hasn't really played a huge amount of football at all for a while, and so he had to swap it around. So França came on, and Eze came on at some point as well, and Ahamada came on, and I think that in an indirect way, he added that youth to the side. He added a little bit of fearlessness to the side. França was really battling it out with Walker, managed to outpace him a couple of times. Now I know Kyle Walker is maybe starting to slow down now at the end of his career, but it's still no mean feat to get past him, and França was doing a good job of getting past him and trying to get into the good areas, and he was playing really well. I thought he had a really good game. Ozo had a really good game. Ahamada didn't do too badly, had a decent game, wasn't bad at all. So in overall, the subs did really well. I thought that they, and the youth players did really well for us as well. And that's when it kind of started to be turned around. And then we had a fantastic chipped pass by Gehi that got on to the end of Schlupp, who took it down, crossed it in, and Jean-Philippe Mateta was there at the goal to knock it in. Great goal for us. And and Mateta had worked really hard in that game, and and I know that there is a chance he's going to be sold in January transfer window, but I think he had a really good game, and I'm really pleased to see that he worked so hard. He was holding up the ball, trying to get involved, trying to chase down passes that were sent to him. He really had a good game, and I know he hasn't had the best of times this season because Roy Hodgson has tended to prefer Edouard, but this could be his opportunity. My hope is, if he does go in the January transfer window, that we don't get rid of him before we sign another striker, because that's the way it's going to go. I can see it now. We're going to, Jean-Philippe Mateta is going to walk out the door in January, and then we're going to be trying to find a striker to replace him, and we're not going to get one, or we're not even going to go in for a striker. That's how I see it panning out. So I really hope that we don't get rid of Mateta until we've got a replacement for him, because that would be disastrous if not. Anyway, especially with Edouard still out at the moment. Anyway, so he got a good goal. And then towards the end of the game, it was actually in extra minutes or added time, as you might want to call it. There was then this debacle in the box where Mateta was kicked in the leg, basically, by Foden, and he was awarded a penalty. Now, the thing that Dean Henderson said he was a bit worried about is because he had been facing penalties from Michael Olise the day before in training, and he hadn't done what he did in this particular in this particular penalty take. He had actually gone the other way, and so when he saw what Olise was going to do, he was a little bit concerned that he wasn't going to be able to do it. But he did it. He put the keeper the wrong way. Fantastic very cool penalty in the end, and it's the most animated I've seen Elise for quite a while. So you know, he obviously meant a lot to him, and that was 2-2. And you know, some people might say that Man City threw it away. You know, they got complacent or something like that. You could say that. However, I'm just going to take it as a great result for us. You know, we worked really hard, and we gave Man City a few problems, and we managed to score a couple of goals. So I think it's a great point on the road for us, and hopefully we'll be able to continue that good form or that good play into the Brighton game, because we really want to get a result there, don't we? And that's really it from me at the moment. I really hope that you enjoyed the game. If you were there, let me know what you thought about it, and also don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want to help support the channel and its movements going forward. And also, if you're listening to this podcast, do leave a comment if you're able to, and sign up for it as well. It's been great to talk to you again. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you again next time.